As the village of Kalumba is gripped by fear, children mysteriously vanish, leaving the villagers desperate and suspicious. All eyes turn to Laila, the once revered healer, now shrouded in doubt and whispers of dark magic. Amara, a heartbroken mother, embarks on a dangerous journey to uncover the truth after her own son disappears. With tensions rising and time running out, a powerful spirit emerges, revealing a curse tied to an ancient betrayal. The healer, the spirit, and a mother's unyielding love collide in a battle for the village's survival. But as the truth begins to surface, nothing is as it seems. In the village of Kalumba, there was a healer named Laila. She was kind, wise, and could cure anyone who fell ill. People travelled from far away just to see her, but strange things began happening in the village. Children started disappearing. One by one, they would go to bed, and by morning they were gone. Whispers began to spread through the village. People said Laila had grown too powerful, that her magic was not just for healing. They suspected she had a hand in the disappearances. Some claimed they saw strange lights coming from her hut at night. Others swore they heard voices, though no one was there. One night a boy named Kato vanished. His mother, Amara, cried and begged the villagers to help her find him. They searched the forests, the rivers, and every corner of the village, but Kato was nowhere to be found. Desperate, Amara went to Laila's hut. Laila welcomed her warmly, offering her tea, but Amara's eyes were filled with suspicion. "Where is my son?" she asked, her voice trembling. Laila frowned. "I don't know, Amara, but I will help you find him." Amara stared at Laila for a long time. She wanted to believe her, but the fear in her heart wouldn't let her. She left the hut feeling more uncertain than ever. The village chief, Kwame, called a meeting. "We must figure out what is happening. Too many children have gone missing and the village is in danger. We cannot let this continue." Some of the elders suggested they should visit the old diviner, Mama Tuma, who lived deep in the forest. She was known to have powerful visions, and though many feared her, they believed she could see the truth. The next morning, Amara, along with a group of villagers, set off to find Mama Tuma. The journey was long and filled with dangers. Wild animals roamed the forest, and strange sounds echoed around them. But Amara was determined. She had to know if Laila was behind the disappearances. When they finally arrived at Mama Tuma's hut, they found the old woman sitting by the fire, her white hair gleaming in the dim light. "I know why you've come," Mama Tuma said before anyone could speak. "The truth is hidden in the shadows, but not for long." Amara's heart raced. "Tell me, where is my son?" Mama Tuma closed her eyes and began to hum. The flames of the fire danced wildly, casting strange shadows on the walls. The villagers held their breath. "There is a curse on this village," Mama Tuma said slowly. "A curse tied to an old betrayal. The children are being taken by a spirit angry and vengeful. But Laila is not the one you should fear. She has tried to protect you all." Amara felt a cold chill run down her spine. "Then who is behind this?" Mama Tuma's eyes snapped open. "The spirit will reveal itself soon, but beware. Once it shows its true form, there will be no going back." With heavy hearts, the villagers returned to Kalumba, knowing their troubles were far from over. That night, as Amara lay in bed, she heard a soft voice whispering her name. It was faint, but unmistakable. She sat up, heart pounding. The voice came again, and this time she recognized it. It was Kato. Amara leapt from her bed, her heart pounding in her chest. She strained her ears, desperate to hear the voice again. "Kato?" she whispered into the darkness, her voice trembling with hope and fear. The voice came again, a little clearer this time. "Mama, help me." Amara rushed out of her hut, not bothering to grab a lamp or a shawl. The night was cool, and the moon hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows across the village. Her feet carried her toward the forest, before she even realized where she was going. As she approached the edge of the trees, the air seemed to grow thicker, heavier. The forest, usually full of life, was deathly silent. The only sound was the soft rustling of leaves under her feet and the faint whisper of her son's voice leading her deeper into the woods. Amara's breath came in ragged gasps as she moved through the dark, pushing aside branches and stumbling over roots. "Cato!" she called, her voice growing more frantic. "Where are you?" Suddenly she felt a cold gust of wind and the trees seemed to close in around her. The whispering stopped. The silence was deafening. Amara stopped, turning in circles, her heart racing. "Cato!" she called again, but there was no response. Just as she was about to turn back, a light flickered in the distance, soft and golden, like the glow of a lantern. Without thinking, Amara moved toward it. The light grew brighter, and soon she found herself standing before a large tree, its roots twisted and gnarled. Beneath the tree was an opening, a small cave-like entrance that she had never seen before. The light was coming from inside. Amara hesitated for only a moment before stepping into the cave. As soon as she entered, the light faded, plunging her into darkness. She could feel the cold, damp earth beneath her feet and hear the distant sound of water dripping. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice shaking. A low, raspy voice answered from the shadows. "You've come too far, Amara." She froze. It wasn't Cato's voice. It was something else, something ancient and malevolent. "You've come to find your son," the voice continued, "but you are not welcome here." Amara's hands trembled as she tried to steady herself. "Where is Cato?" she demanded, her fear giving way to anger. The air around her grew colder, and the ground seemed to shift beneath her feet. "The boy is mine," the voice hissed. "He and all the others belong to me now." A shape began to emerge from the darkness, a figure cloaked in shadows, its eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Amara stepped back, her heart racing. "No," she whispered. "You can't have him." The figure moved closer, and Amara could feel its cold breath on her skin. The curse was cast long ago, and now the debt must be paid. The children are the price for the sins of your ancestors. Amara's mind raced. She remembered Mama Tuma's warning about an old betrayal. "What betrayal?" she asked, her voice shaking. The figure laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "The betrayal of trust, of power, of blood. Your people broke a sacred bond with the spirits, and now I take what is owed." Amara's heart sank. "How do I stop this?" The figure loomed over her, its glowing eyes piercing through the darkness. "There is no stopping it. The curse is bound to this land, to your people. But—" The voice trailed off, and for a moment, Amara thought she saw a flicker of something. Regret, perhaps. "There is one way." "What is it?" Amara pleaded. "Tell me, I'll do anything." The figure circled her slowly, its voice soft and menacing. "The curse can be broken by the blood of the one who wields it. Only a sacrifice of equal power can undo the damage that was done." Amara's mind raced. The one who wields the curse, did that mean the spirit itself? Before she could ask, the figure began to fade back into the shadows. "The choice is yours, Amara, but choose quickly. Time is running out." As the figure disappeared, the cave seemed to collapse around her, the ground shaking and the walls crumbling. Amara turned and ran, the sound of the spirit's laughter echoing in her ears. When she finally stumbled out of the forest and back into the village, the sun was just beginning to rise. Exhausted and terrified, Amara knew that she had to find Laila. She was the only one who could help her now. Please, if you are still watching, subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. As Amara lay in her bed that night, her mind raced with the words of Mama Tuma. The thought of a spirit taking the village's children sent chills down her spine. But Laila's role in this mystery still gnawed at her. Sleep was elusive. Then, as the darkness in her room seemed to deepen, Amara heard it, a faint voice, soft as the wind but unmistakable. "Mother." Amara's heart raced. She sat up, her pulse pounding in her ears. "Mother!" Help me." The voice was clear now. It was Cato's voice. She stumbled out of bed, her feet hitting the cold floor. Her hands trembled as she moved towards the door, listening intently. "Cato? Cato? Where are you?" Her voice cracked as she called into the night. The voice grew fainter, but it seemed to be calling her towards the forest. With nothing but a lantern and the clothes on her back, Amara rushed out of the house, her legs moving faster than she could think. She had no plan, no idea what awaited her. All she knew was that Cato was out there somewhere, and she would do anything to bring him home. As she neared the forest's edge, the air grew thick with an unnatural chill. The trees groaned and the wind whispered strange things in her ears. She felt as if the forest itself was alive, watching her every move. Then, in the distance, she saw it, an eerie glowing light hovering between the trees just beyond the path. She could hear Cato's voice again, faint but desperate. "Mother, help me." Without hesitation, Amara plunged into the forest, the light guiding her. The deeper she went, the more oppressive the air became. The trees seemed to twist and bend unnaturally, their branches curling like fingers reaching out to grab her. Finally, she reached a clearing. In the centre stood Laila. Amara froze. Layla's back was to her, her arms raised towards the sky, her entire body bathed in the strange, glowing light. Around her, faint shadows of children swirled like phantoms, their forms translucent and ethereal. "Cato!" Amara screamed, but her voice was drowned out by the howling wind that suddenly whipped through the clearing. Laila turned slowly to face her, her expression solemn. "Amara," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the storm, "you must trust me." Amara's eyes darted around the clearing, landing on the glowing orbs surrounding Laila, the missing children. "What have you done?" she cried, her voice cracking with anguish. "It's not me," Laila said, her eyes pleading. "The spirit is here. It's been feeding on the children's souls. I've been trying to protect them, to hold them in this space until we can break the curse. But it's too strong, Amara. I can't hold it much longer." Amara's heart pounded in her chest. She wanted to believe Laila, but the sight of her son's ghostly figure made her blood run cold. Before she could speak, a deep guttural growl rumbled through the clearing. From the shadows emerged the spirit, twisted, massive, and full of rage. Its hollow eyes burned with an ancient fury, and its long, clawed fingers reached for the children's souls. "The curse," Laila gasped, "was born from an ancient betrayal. The spirit was wronged long ago, and it's taking its revenge on our children. But we can stop it. Together." Amara's mind raced. She had to act fast. "Tell me what to do," she shouted, desperation fueling her every word. Laila handed her a small glowing talisman. This was crafted by Mama Tuma. It holds the power to break the curse, but it must be used with love and pure intention. Amara's hands shook as she gripped the talisman. The spirit howled, its form shifting like smoke reaching for her son. Without thinking, Amara stepped forward, holding the talisman high. She thought of Cato, of his laughter, of the warmth of his small hand in hers. Her heart surged with love, and as the spirit lunged at her, she thrust the talisman forward, shouting with all the strength she had left, "If you are still watching, please hit the like button and subscribe." A brilliant light exploded from the talisman, engulfing the clearing. The spirit screamed in agony as it dissolved into nothingness, its terrible form unravelling into the night sky. In the sudden stillness, the children, Cato among them, began to solidify, their ghostly forms becoming flesh and bone once more. "Cato!" Amara cried, rushing to him. She fell to her knees, pulling him into her arms, tears streaming down her face. He was safe. He was real. Laila, exhausted but smiling faintly, watched from a distance. "The curse is broken," she whispered. Amara held Cato close, never wanting to let him go again. Around them, the other children reunited with their families. The village of Kalumba bathed in the first light of dawn. The danger had passed, but the village would never be the same. They had faced the darkness, and through love and trust, They had triumphed. And Laila, once feared, was now seen as the protector she had always been.